I think if that was my decision, I probably would not have done it.
The bombs were necessary, even if they were very damaging.
At least me personally, I always felt bad that we did that. I was like, I don't think Japan ever deserved that.
12さんです。アメリカ留学生中継。今回はですね、この季節よくね日本のテレビの中でも第二次世界大戦のトピック、特に原爆ですねについて騒がれてると思うんですけど、僕も結構ねテレビでそういうのずっと見てきて、実際にアメリカ人の学生が逆にその原爆について、長崎とか広島で落ちた原爆についてどう思ってるのか、そしてどういうふうに学校の中で教育されてるのかっていうのをちょっと聞きたいなと思って、今日はキャンパスに来ていろんな学生さんに聞いていきたいなと思っています。じゃあ行きましょう。Go! So this month, August 6th and 9th, it would be the special day for Japan. That's because Hiroshima and Nagasaki were attacked by the atomic bomb. I'm just curious, like no offensive. I'm just curious about like how Americans are taught about that war. Like, yeah.
What I remember being taught is that we bombed Hiroshima and
Nagasaki,
right? And I always was taught about it in a very solemn, almost regretful way, that at least me personally, I always felt bad that we did that. I was like, I don't think Japan ever deserved that, and we were never taught to be prideful that we did that. We were always very sad that it happened, and I was taught also that we tried to help Japan after we did that, as trying to make up for what we did.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're kind of taught that we gave Japan opportunities to surrender,
right,
and that we kind of threatened that we would use excessive force if not, and then because they said they would fight to the death or something.
It's called
they decided
kamikaze,
to use,
right?
Yeah.
Kamikaze?
Yeah. They decided to use the nuclear bomb, the atomic bomb. And I know that President Truman, I think it was, he was the one that okayed it, but that's the basic story.
And then what do you think about using the atomic bomb to end the war, or it's totally fine with your personal opinion?
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I mean, I think it's crazy that so many people died, and there was such a the aftermath was pretty devastating for the city and just for the physical effects after and everything. It should only be used in circumstances where it's for the greater good, and that ultimately it will save lives. In that scenario, I'm not exactly sure what would have been best, but I think in coming wars or conflicts in the world, I think that there should be certain guidelines or rules for
to use
for using that kind of weapons.
Okay, thank you so much.
I feel like it's obviously something that's covered briefly in most history classes. I would say definitely in high school.
And that's something you have to teach, right?
Right, exactly. I feel like it's something, at least in my experience, that we didn't cover very much of. We kind of covered that it was something that happened, and it was something that ended up being really sad, that I think a lot of, at least at the time, most Americans didn't think it would be as significant or as awful as it really was. So I'd say that's pretty much what I was taught about it, just kind of briefly that it happened, and just the consequences of that action.
Okay, but if you were in that situation and you are the one who have to decide, use the atomic bomb or not, and then also the American wanted to end the war, as quickly as possible, right? What would you do? Are you gonna? That's a hard question.
It's hard, knowing what we know now, right?
Right.
And looking back, it's obviously that's something we wouldn't want to do. I think my personal opinion is obviously cost a lot of civilian lives, and I think that was the really sad thing. So I think if that was my decision, I probably would not have done it, or at least not set off the atomic bomb and the places that it was set off, you know, places with large civilian population.
Right.
But, you know, everybody suffers the negative effects of the war regardless of what side you're on. So losing lots of innocent lives, I feel like, is not a good idea.
Okay. Yeah, that's a tough question, huh? There's no like, you know, right answer.
So for me, it was taught of more of a defense because of Pearl Harbor, of course.
Right.
I don't really like. I don't know. I had two different teachers that I remember where one was like, it was all their fault kind of thing. And another one who took it very much like those were families that they were hurting, not the army instead, which I kind of agree more with that. Just thinking of all the innocent people who didn't deserve that. That's kind of my stance on it. I think it was, I don't know. I don't really follow politics like too much, but
there's no like right answer so
okay.
Yeah, so just like wanted to hear your personal opinion.
For sure.
Okay.
Honestly though, I would say no, because I feel like we're all humans and we all can figure out a way to negotiate and have peace in some way or form or another that doesn't result in killing innocent people, in my opinion.
So violence is never gonna like...
No, I don't think that's ever the answer.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So Americans are taught generally, my experience, right, is that the bombs were necessary, even if they were very damaging. Me personally, I don't believe that they were necessary whatsoever.
Like, why is that?
So I think that so a lot of the reasons that are given for their necessity, I think, are false. So one reason that's often given is the claim that Japan would not have surrendered if we hadn't dropped both bombs.
Right.
And my understanding of history is that that's just completely false. There were very pro-war people in the, I don't know what to call it exactly, but Imperial Council is sort of the idea that, or the word that I want to use. And they were rather indifferent to like any suffering that the common Japanese person was experiencing during the war. So my understanding is things like firebombing of Tokyo, for example, caused way more death and destruction than the atomic bombs. And my understanding is also that when the first bomb dropped on Hiroshima, that those like more pro-war aggressive people in the council sort of ignored it completely and were like, this doesn't affect us, like we need to continue to pursue the war because that's like what we're doing. So that's just one example.
なかなかまあ興味深かったですけど、印象に残ってるのは、まあ比較的ね、歴史の中ではまあしょうがなかったと、戦争を早く終わらせるために落とすのはしょうがなかったっていう形でまあ理解されてますけど、なんか結構みんないや落とす必要なかったよねっていうなんか意見が多かったかなっていう、意外とこう必要なかった派が多かったかなっていう。原爆の被害を受けた身からしたらやっぱり落としてほしくなかったなっていうのが正直なところだし、まあ、アメリカ人がそれを教えられても、まあ、やっぱ落とす必要なかったよねって思ってるのもなんか僕としては結構嬉しかったかなと思います。まあ、この動画が良かったなっていう方はぜひ高評価の方とチャンネル登録の方とあと通知ボタンですね、ぜひお願いします。じゃあ今回この辺でまたね、バイバイ。